All right, so let's get to the trades. So these occurred on Friday of last week, and they happened like within 15 minutes of each other, which is just bizarre. So let's go with the 49ers Dolphins trade first, because that happened like 15 minutes before the other one did. The 49ers acquired the number 3 pick from the Dolphins for number 12, a 3rd round pick, and 1st round picks in 2022 and 2023. So what do you think about this trade for both teams?
Yeah, I obviously really like it for the Dolphins because they do not need a quarterback with Tua Tagovailoa. For better or for worse, he's going to be their franchise quarterback. And we've spoken about this on the podcast before. Like, he did not have a great rookie season by any means, but he did 2 things. He did win games. He avoided turnovers. And then the other thing about this, so I guess it's 3 things, but he's coming off of a hip injury that was, when he entered his first game was less than a year before he played again. So, I mean, he should hypothetically be better with extra time to heal up. And, I think that'll help him out. So I think the Dolphins picking up extra draft capital to continue to build around Tua, I think is a good thing. And also it gives them, extra draft capital if Tua does not improve as we're expecting him to. Then they'll be able to go out and acquire a quarterback they like. So I liked the move for them. I also like the move for the 49ers. They have a pretty good roster as it stands. Jimmy Garoppolo has not been healthy. The problems over the course of the past few years is when Garoppolo has been out, they have not been able to win. Getting rid of CJ Beathard and Nick Mullins, who I think is a restricted free agent. I don't know if he's re-signed there, and replacing them with a number 3 overall pick that can eventually take over for Garoppolo, who, when he's healthy, he's been solid, but he hasn't been like an elite level quarterback. And, he's certainly not going to be worth a big time extension at this point. So I think this is a good trade for them. They're paying up to get one of the top 5 quarterbacks in this class. And they're going to have their pick of a few different guys. It sounds like Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson are going to be the first off the board. So if they like Justin Fields or Trey Lance the best, they can go with him there. If they like Mac Jones the best and really surprise everyone, they can go with him at number 3. I like Mac Jones more than most. So if that happens, I will feel some source of vindication that Kyle Shanahan's guy is also one of my guys. But yeah, I think it's a calculated risk on their part, but I like the rest of their roster enough where I'm okay with them making this move. And, again, they're not going to be keeping Jimmy Garoppolo beyond this season. They might not even keep him this season if the rookie quarterback turns out to be better than him. He could become trade bait down the line. So I think that this is a fine move for them, but I do think the Dolphins end up winning this trade.
Yeah, me too. I think the Dolphins getting so many assets, 2 first-round picks in the future. I mean, that's huge. Plus the 3rd round pick is, it's kind of meaningful. So, the Dolphins at 3, it was inevitable that they would trade down because there's so many quarterbacks in this class. Someone was going to trade off for them, and it's nice that they were able to do that now. And compare that to last year with Detroit at number 3. Like I thought for sure the Lions are going to move down. They stayed put. They took Jeff Okudah, and Okudah could end up being a good player for them. But they should have traded down. I feel like they could have, even if they took less value. And I remember thinking, if they trade from 3 to 5 or 3 to 6, and even if they only get a 4th round pick, which is like not value for that selection, it's still a good move because they got an asset for for nothing, because they could still get Okudah at 5 or 6. So it's great that the Dolphins were able to trade down. I was a little worried that they moved to 12 initially. Because, you're not going to go a blue chip player at 12 unless something crazy happens. But then I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, I mean, getting those 2 extra first round picks is worth it. So I still love this trade for the Dolphins. For the 49ers, there's no price. For a franchise quarterback is priceless, right? So if you can get one, I think you have to pull the trigger. I remember thinking about like the Deshaun Watson trade, and this obviously before the legal issues, with the Texans. When the Texans traded up for him, I thought they gave up a lot. And then I spoke to someone in the NFL who's like, well, you're crazy for hating this pick hating this trade because, if Deshaun Watson pans out, they won't even care about losing those draft picks because he's going to be such a big factor for them for making the playoffs every year. And, obviously they've had such terrible mismanagement. Like, it wasn't Watson's fault, but like Watson ended up being one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL and ended up being a good trade. So I think if the Niners get a good quarterback, because obviously they won't care. Now, if they end up drafting a bust, like this is going to be a disaster for them. So it really depends on what they draft, like who they draft, if that quarterback's coached up. And I trust Kyle Shanahan to take the right guy. I'll be kind of surprised if it's Mac Jones, because I feel like they could have gotten him at 12. You know, I feel like they didn't have to trade up all the way to 3 for Mac Jones. Maybe Atlanta takes him, but I don't know if anyone takes him above 7. So I feel like they could have traded to 6. Obviously we know the Eagles wanted to move down. If they liked Mac Jones a lot, I feel like they could have gone to 6 and gave up less. Like gave up only 1 first round pick instead of 2. So I think it's going to be Trey Lance or Justin Fields. My inclination is that it's going to be Trey Lance, because Kyle Shanahan said he wants a mobile quarterback. So gun to your head and you had to bet $1. Who is the quarterback you think the Niners will take at 3?
So right now, I'd actually say Mac Jones, because both John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan were at his pro day today. I thought Daniel Jeremiah made a good point on the broadcast. They don't have to hide anything anymore. They had to choose between Jones and Fields' pro day today, and both of them were at Jones's, pro day. So if they didn't have the number 3 pick at that point, then, maybe they would do that to try to get suspicion that they're not in on Fields. But I think that they are strongly considering Jones, and that's why they were there. But I do think Lance is a possibility. So, I'm saying Mac Jones right now. He fits that Kirk Cousins, Matt Ryan type of mold that Kyle Shanahan's had in the past. But your comments about the mobility definitely would point more towards Lance or Fields. So it is really wide open right now. They're going to have their choice of those 3 guys, though, which is one of the reasons that I like the trade. And I think that that's why they didn't trade up just to 6. I think they wanted their choice of guys. So if that ends up being Mac Jones, maybe they could have moved up for less. But I think it's a good trade for them as they get to kind of evaluate the guys out there right now. But Jones is my guy right now, and I'm sure I'll look stupid in a few weeks for saying that.
I get what everyone's saying about the Niners going to Mac Jones's pro day. But then again, maybe they wanted to go to that pro day to make sure that they didn't want to take him, like kind of cross him off the list. And if that's true, then I think Trey Lance is their guy, because they didn't go to Justin Fields' pro day. And maybe they just love Trey Lance and they're like, I guess it doesn't matter which pro day we go to. We're not going to take either one of these guys. But let's just make sure that Mac Jones isn't our guy. Maybe it's that. It could be that. So I think it's still up in the air. I think we're going to have a better idea closer to the draft. We'll just have to wait and see. Right now, I think it's Trey Lance, but it could easily be Mac Jones, and it still could just be Justin Fields. The Denver Broncos never spoke to Jay Cutler before they drafted him, so it could be that too. But then again, Daniel Jeremiah said, they don't have to hide anything. But maybe they still think they may want to hide something. I don't know. Who knows?